So what if you could, unlock some of the strategies the world's wealthiest people use, not just to earn more, but to really manage what you have with precision and foresight?
That's a great question.
Welcome, everyone, to everything you need to know about finance.
Glad to be here.
Now, before we really dive in, just a quick reminder, we're sharing data, insights, different perspectives here. This isn't financial advice. Always good to remember that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And this whole idea of strategic money management is not exactly new, is it? It definitely evolved.
Right.
You look back at historical figures leveraging early investments, and then you see today's billionaires using these really modern frameworks. But the core idea is building that lasting prosperity. They're surprisingly consistent.
Fascinatingly so. So our mission today is to take a deep dive into how the top 1% manage their money. We're looking for those actionable nuggets, the things anyone can apply no matter where you're starting from. All right, so let's maybe start unpacking this. There's a fundamental idea that seems to run through it all, this concept of ownership. If you don't own something, well, you're the one being owned, in a sense.
Yeah, that really hits home. And it's not just about owning, say, a house. It's broader. It's about owning the means of production, maybe owning your unique skills or stakes in businesses.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the research we looked at is pretty clear. Something like 75% of the wealthiest are entrepreneurs. Then you've got maybe 15% investors, 7% inheritors, and a small slice, like 3%, who are top athletes, artists, entertainers.
And the number who are just employees earning a salary.
0%. That's
Yeah.
the striking part. The common thread is that active ownership. They own businesses, assets, maybe trusts, or they possess these rare, super in-demand skills. It's a mindset, really. Proactive ownership, that's crucial.
Okay, so ownership is the key mindset. How does that translate into daily financial management? We came across this framework, the 25-50-10 rule, designed to help anyone adopt that proactive approach.
Right, the 25-50-10. It's less about how much you make initially and more about how you manage what you make. It kind of mirrors how the top 1% allocate their resources proportionally.
So let's break it down. That first 25%, that's for growth, right? This is the money that should be working for you.
Exactly. That's the growth engine. We're talking about assets that ideally increase in value over time and put money back in your pocket.
Yeah.
Things like index funds, the S&P 500 is a classic example,
Uh-huh.
or real estate.
Mm-hmm.
And if buying a whole property feels like too much, there are REITs, real estate investment trusts.
Mm-hmm.
It's a way to get exposure with a smaller entry point. Even developing high-income skills like coding or advanced sales techniques fits here. It's an asset.
That example you mentioned, Billy and Phil, that really drives home the power of compound growth.
Oh, absolutely. It's a stark illustration.
Yeah.
Billy invests less overall, but because he starts earlier.
Much earlier.
Right, much early. He ends up with, was it nearly $600,000 more than Phil by the time they both hit 60?
Mm-hmm.
It's incredible.
But the challenge there isn't it the discipline? Actually starting and then staying invested, especially when, life throws curveballs.
That's precisely it. Discipline and consistency. And that's where using tax-advantaged accounts becomes so important.
Like ISAs or 401ks.
Exactly. ISAs in the UK, Roth IRAs, or 401ks in the US. These let your money grow either tax-free or tax-deferred. Huge advantage. There was that story about Peter Thiel
Yeah.
reportedly growing his Roth IRA into billions. Now, that's an extreme example, obviously, but the principle holds. He apparently invested in high-growth companies before they went public, sheltering massive potential gains from taxes legally. It's about strategic placement.
Strategic is the word. Okay, so we've got 25% working for growth. What's the next pillar? What do the wealthy prioritize for? Like security.
Stability. That's the next 15%.
Yeah.
This is your financial safety net. Because life does happen.
Always. The unexpected car breakdown, the boiler giving up.
Exactly. And without that cushion, one unexpected bill can spiral into debt, cause huge stress, and really set you back from your growth goals.
So how much should you aim for in that stability fund?
The general guidance is about 5 months worth of your core expenses. So think essentials, groceries, rent or mortgage, utilities, basic transport. Not the fun stuff, just what you absolutely need to live.
And where should you keep it? Not under the mattress, I assume.
Definitely not. You want it somewhere easily accessible, but also safe. Zero risk. High-yield savings accounts are perfect for this. Think SoFi, Ally, Marcus by Goldman Sachs. These are often FDIC insured in the U.S., offer decent interest rates, much better than a standard checking account anyway.
Okay. And building that up can feel daunting. Are there any sort of smart tactics to speed it up?
Yeah, a few good ones. There's the paycheck sweep. Automatically move 15% into that savings account the moment your paycheck hits. Set it and forget it.
Automation helps.
Hugely. Then there's the replacement promise. If you do have to dip into the fund for an emergency, you make a promise to yourself to replenish it ASCP. It keeps the discipline. And maybe a bit more passive, the save by spending hack. Using roundup apps or directing cashback rewards straight into that savings account. It adds up surprisingly quickly. It's about adopting that wealthy mindset of automated, almost effortless accumulation.
These are some really practical strategies. We're taking a deep dive into these powerful principles today. And hey, if you're finding this kind of actionable content valuable, do take a second to like or subscribe. It really helps us keep bringing you more insights like this.
Definitely appreciate the support. So we've covered 25% for growth, 15% for stability. That leaves the biggest chunk.
50%. And this goes towards essentials. That seems high.
It does, but think about it. This covers your true needs: housing, food, utilities, transport, insurance, the non-negotiables. And what's really striking is how many people, even high earners, live paycheck to paycheck because their essentials category balloons with, well, non-essentials. Lifestyle creep.
Ah, lifestyle creep. That makes sense. It really drives home the point that it's not just about how much you earn.
It's how you manage it. Absolutely.
Yeah. So focusing on essentials sounds simple, but it's often where people struggle, right? Especially when their income goes up. What are the biggest traps here? And how do the wealthy steer clear?
That's a critical point. Lifestyle creep is insidious. The trick often is to aggressively manage the big expense categories. Housing is usually number one.
Right.
Consider sticking to the 25% rule. Housing costs shouldn't exceed 25% of your take-home pay. Maybe explore house hacking, renting out a room or part of your property to offset costs. Even just renegotiating your rent can make a difference.
And transport.
Another big one. Do you really need that brand new car?
Yeah.
A reliable used car often makes way more financial sense. Or, if your lifestyle allows, could you manage without a car altogether? That saves a fortune.
Interesting.
And to combat impulse spending within that 50%, use systems, not just willpower. The 7-day rule is good. Wait 7 days before buying any non-essential item. Ask yourself, am I buying the brand or the value? And, critically, will this purchase genuinely improve my life in a meaningful way? It forces intentionality.
Intentionality. I like that. Okay, so that leaves the final 10%. What's that for?
Rewards. This is crucial. It's the part that keeps you sane and makes the whole system sustainable. It prevents burnout and that feeling of deprivation.
So it's not an excuse to just blow money.
Not at all. It's a planned strategy.
Yeah.
This is your guilt-free spending category. Use it for things that bring you real joy. Vacations, hobbies, experiences with loved ones, meaningful gifts. The focus should really be on buying memories and connections, not just stuff.
That makes sense. Research often shows people regret not spending on experiences more than they regret buying things.
Exactly. Those experiences create lasting joy and reinforce why you're being disciplined with the other 90%.
So, beyond these specific percentages, are there broader habits the wealthy tend to share?
Definitely. Long-term thinking is huge. They're not just focused on next month's bills. They're thinking years, even decades ahead. Continuous financial education is another one they're always learning. And creating multiple income streams, moving beyond just relying on a single salary. Plus, a really strategic approach to tax optimization, often using expert advice to structure things efficiently and legally minimize their tax burden.
So it really boils down to more than just the numbers, doesn't it? It's a mindset, a continuous effort.
Precisely. It's understanding that building real sustainable wealth takes time, discipline, and constantly learning and adapting.
Okay. So this deep dive really shows that managing money like the top 1% isn't just about having a massive income, though that helps, I'm sure.
Sure.
It's more about cultivating a disciplined mindset, taking consistent action, and making those strategic choices. Principles that actually anyone can start applying.
That's the core message. And looking ahead, the landscape of wealth is always shifting, right? New technologies, new markets. But these core principles of ownership, growth, stability, and intentional spending, they'll likely just adapt. Understanding them now is key to navigating whatever opportunities come next.
Food for thought. So maybe the final question for everyone listening is, what's one step, just one thing you can take today to start cultivating that wealthier mindset? What will you choose to own?